Mom's planting alyssum. We never grew this before, did we?
Yeah, we did. We grew them from seed.
These are
plugs.
We kind of got them by plugs by accident, but we decided to keep them anyway. You can see the little tiny baby white flowers they have on them. The only problem we're noticing right now is that they're pretty big, and all of our seedlings are only about not even an inch high, so these are going to be quite a bit off from the other ones, but I guess we're going to try and see how everything turns out. What are they, Gerbers?
Gerbers, yeah. I don't think these guys should be too deep. But they got broken leaves. You think I should take them off?
I don't know. Maybe let them get established first before we start pulling stuff off. I guess that's just from shipping.
Yep. They're beautiful.
I need to start seeding the other half of our field onions, but I don't have a lot of room in the seed room, so I'm trying to move some stuff out. Some of it is really borderline whether it should come out or not, but like I said, I need the room and I can't wait much longer. Some things like adratum here had a pretty poor stand, or like not quite 3/4 of the tray, a little over half was planted, and you can see very little came up. So that's something I'm gonna have to take note of and plant very soon here. Just so we can make up for the loss. Another thing I seen was Greek oregano, but like I said, these are still pretty small. I didn't really want to bring these out yet. I think they'll do okay out here, but some of them are just still baby, if you can even see that. So hopefully all that'll be okay. I think it will be. And then in the seed room here, I have just a couple more flats to bring out. Like, these are doing just fine. You can tell that the Dreams mix right here is doing very well compared to the other half here, which is Merlin Rose. They're not doing bad. Again, like I said, there's still some baby ones. Some stuff like this though is doing really well. The only thing that's not is the yellow bell, and some of them are still poking up through. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna take these out or not, but for the most part, all the rest of it is coming up really well, and I can take that out with no problem. So first off, I gotta make my tags. They're yellow sweet Spanish, but, oops, I don't wanna do that. But just to save some of the tag, I'm only gonna put yellow Spanish and we'll know exactly what that is. Print. And I actually have to do, I think, like 7 or 10 flats of this variety, so this is where it really saves time, because now I have that one tag and I can just go print, print, and then another one comes right out and I don't have to keep writing out tags. Or even keep typing in new labels, for that matter. So we got a new dosatron for the greenhouse. Ours last year went bad. And if you don't know what a dosatron is, this is it right here. In our greenhouse, our dosatron sits right here. Now last year ours went bad. Not that it wasn't working anymore at all, but it was just really leaking. All the fittings and everything were kind of rotting and getting wore out. So we decided to get a new one. Now, we already noticed one problem, which I kind of fixed it, but I gotta fix it better. When I first opened up the package, this was turned inside, which wasn't allowing me to put the dosatron inside of here. So I turned it back, but now my fitting is loose and there's a good chance that it could leak water, so I might have to tighten that back up. But anyway, that doesn't explain what this baby does. So what it does is when we are ready to start fertilizing in the greenhouse, we hook our main water line up to it, which it'll sit right here, and then the water will go through and we can turn it off and it can just bypass this. The bypass is like this. So it comes in right here, comes out, over, down, and back out, and then we can water just like we normally do. But if we want to use a dosatron to put fertilizer in our water or something of that sort, we will then open these up, which they're opened right now, shut this off, and now the water will come up in, go through the dosatron, which what happens is this thing has like a mini pump inside of there. And so it goes up and down, and when it goes up and down, it sucks water or any kind of fertilizer or whatever it is out of the bucket through this line right here. This goes in the bottom of the bucket, sucking, comes through the line, up into it, and then shoots it out down through here and back out into our line to fertilize whatever we want to fertilize for that day or that time period. So I just took the red caps off, which sit right there, and there is, well, now probably nothing will come out. You can see water coming out, and actually quite a bit of water came out, which is right there on the floor. And that's because the company always tests them before sending them out, which is a good thing. But the problem with that is, luckily my dad knew, I didn't know. If we would have left that in our shed during those freezing temperatures, that could have busted and we would have had to buy another new one. So luckily Dad said keep that in our basement, that way it doesn't freeze, and now when it's in the greenhouse here, it'll be just fine. So these kind of things are a bit complicated because everything's threaded, and obviously if something is fixed and can't move, that means you can't really tighten it properly. So I gotta kind of take this back apart a little bit to be able to get the dosatron back in there. Like now, I can thread this in here and it'll be just fine. So there she is. Now it's time to hook up my hose to the bottom here. And then once that flares, then this goes on. And holds it just like that. Now this will go into my bucket, but first I have to put my screened end on the bottom here. All right, so she's ready to rock. I'm gonna shut this off. Hook up my hose, which right now we've just been working on it here. I'll hook it up to here, and we'll see if she works without leaking. I know it's gonna work. So there it is, finally done. Only took me about 25 minutes. Nothing's leaking, everything's working properly. The only thing I did was I noticed, see how it says flow right there? I had that accidentally turned the other way, so I had to flip that around, and now we're ready to go. you can see that probably the top 2 inches are saturated, like mud. And then everything below that, the other 16 inches, is completely dry. So now I gotta start mixing. Okay. Usually we have an auger bit. Well, kind of like more like a paddle bit for like mixing paint, and we'll go down through, and it makes it a lot easier, but I didn't feel like going and grabbing that, so I just did it by hand. Dad said it should be wet enough to where if you squeeze as hard as you can, you should maybe get a drop out, or at least it should pack into a little bit of a ball. And I think I'm really close. I think that's good enough. So now, whether it's me, Mom, or Dad, we can start filling pots whenever we want to. It's getting to be that time now where all of our seedlings have used up most of their nutrients in the soil, and now we need to replenish that with more fertilizer, which I have right here, water-soluble fertilizer. And so this is a 17-4-17 mixture, and I'm gonna mix up 2 gallons, so that's gonna be 16 ounces. Perfect, so we're right on there. I got 1 big clump in there, and you can see like it's a bunch of little tiny beads, and that's the different kind of fertilizers that are in there. So now I can take this and put it in here. And now I'll get my 2 gallons of water. So now what I gotta do is I have this old piece of pipe, not really old, but it's clean, it's sanitized, and now I'm gonna take and mix up the fertilizer, make sure there's no chunks in there. That way when we're ready to use it, everything's mixed properly.